Hello, my dear listeners. This presentation will be on the topic critical reading and understanding the process of critical reading. One of the most valuable and useful aspects of learning a new language is acquiring a mastery over reading the language. The Kothari Commission recommended that English must be taught in India as a library language. For the majority of our learners, English will serve as a library language, and hence, reading or the ability to understand the written language will be one of the most useful skills that they acquire in schools. One difference between reading and critical reading is that we read to get a basic grasp of the text, while critical reading is done to form judgments about how a text works. Critical reading is the most advanced type of reading. There are two distinct abilities involved in the process of critical reading. One is the ability to read and self-reflect. The reader should be able to reflect on the questions such as what experiences, assumptions, knowledge, and perspectives do they bring to read the text? What biases might they have? Or are they able to keep an open mind and consider other points of view? The second ability is reading to understand. Here, readers should be able to examine the text and context. They should be able to answer questions such as who is the author or what kind of text is it. Readers should be able to skim the text and find out the topic and the main ideas. They should be able to resolve confusions. For example, they should be able to look up unfamiliar words or terms in dictionaries and then go back over difficult passages to clarify them. Process for reading critically. In order to read critically, one must think critically. This involves analysis, interpretation, and evaluation. Analysis means looking at the parts of the text to detect patterns. The reader analyzes the arguments the author is making. Interpretation is reading ideas and sentences. This means the reader needs to be aware of the cultural and historical context or the context of the author's life. Evaluation means making judgments about the intellectual or cognitive, aesthetic, moral, or practical value of a text. The reader evaluates a text by asking and getting an answer to the questions, that is, how well does the text do what it does, and what is its value. Each of these processes helps the reader to interact with the text in different ways. Understanding the process of reading. Good readers understand the processes involved in reading and consciously control them. This awareness and control of the reading processes is called metacognition, which means knowing about knowing, or awareness and understanding of one's own thought processes. On the contrary, some readers don't know when they don't know, so they continue to read even though they are not comprehending. Poor readers focus on facts, but good readers try to assimilate details in a larger cognitive pattern. The process of reading is broadly divided into three stages, namely recognition stage, structuring stage, and interpretation stage. Let us discuss each of these three stages. The first stage is recognition stage. At this stage, the learner is merely recognizing the graphic form of the language or the written symbols, which are the alphabets, that constitute the written form of language. His speed or slow progress at this stage will depend a great deal on the similarity or difference between the script of his mother tongue and English. Generally, Indian students find this stage difficult due to the great difference in script and pronunciation between English and the native languages. The second stage is the structuring stage. At this stage, the learner learns to observe the syntactic relationship of the different items in the language and understands the structural meanings. This stage helps him to accumulate grammatical rules that contribute to his acquiring mastery over the language. The interpretation stage is the highest level in the process of reading. At this stage, the learner comprehends the significance of a word, phrase, or a sentence in the overall context of the entire discourse. The learner is able to distinguish between statements that state fact and statements that state the opinion of the author. This is the ultimate goal of all reading activity. In conclusion, we can say that critical reading is a more active way of reading. It is a deeper and more complex engagement with a text. In order to become a critical reader, the reader should be prepared to become part of the writer's audience. He should read with an open mind.